So this is going to be about how we take on our family actions and beliefs and then repeat them generation after generation. So there's this family, and every year this family would cut off the ends of their Christmas ham, and they did this for like generations. And one day there was a little kid, that said, "Hey Mom, why do we do this? Why do we cut off the ends of the ham?" And the mom stopped for a moment and she says, "I don't know." So they decided to look deeper into it, and they asked Grandma, and Grandma said she didn't know either. So they went to Great Grandma, and Great Grandma didn't know either. So they finally found out. It was like 5 generations earlier where the great grandma, she would take the Christmas ham and she'd cut off both ends. And when they asked her why she did it, she simply said because the pot was too small. Now I know that sounds silly, but that's really how things go. You see, their children watched their children, and they did it, and their children watched their children, and they did it, and so on and so on. They never even knew that it wasn't something you do. They always thought it was a special tidbit to making their wonderful Christmas ham. But the point is that they were cutting off both ends of the ham because that was what was presented to them, and so they took it as a truth. They took it as a belief. The point is that that was what was presented to them, so they just passed it on generation after generation as a truth. This same thing happens with patterns that suck in your family. For instance, low self-worth, poor coping skills, substance abuse, not knowing how to handle boundaries. Like when I was growing up, my grandmother said that the only way you could clean the floor properly is if you were down on your hands and knees with a bucket and a rag. And you know what's funny about that is that I maintained that belief for many, many years. But I'm happy to say not anymore. And there are good things too, and you see them play out. An example, when I was growing up, it was mandatory that you made your bed because it was your first accomplishment of the day. So when I had kids, of course, I told them, "You gotta make your bed." And as they got older, it was met with some resistance, as you can imagine. But what's interesting is that now, when they have their kids, I hear them tell their kids, "You gotta make your bed because it's the first accomplishment of the day." So if your mom sucked at money, it's your job in this lifetime to not suck at money. And if your grandmother had bad relationship after bad relationship, and you do too, that might be an unconscious inherited character that you're expressing. Everybody mirrors their parents and their grandparents and their aunts and uncles for that matter. It's a weird, long chain of enmeshment of both good and bad, truths and beliefs. But it's our responsibility to recognize and break those habits that are no longer beneficial and no longer serving our greater good. These are things that we subconsciously pick up and practice over and over and make them our own. Most of the time, we don't even know that we're doing it. So again, we have to recognize them, and we have to separate the ones that are serving us from the ones that are not. Because if we don't take action with this, we'll be locked into this cycle of our past. So break them, my friends. Smash them like a bull in a china shop. I know that sometimes things feel really, really hard. But video by video and tip by tip, we will build a bounty of skills together. So if you want even more than what this little video provides, go ahead and either DM me and tell me how I can help. Have a glorious day, my beautiful souls. Be good to yourself and celebrate one thing every day.